Hey, everybody, how you doing? Well, that's real fucking good. My name is Bill Matz. I'm your director of fun and games for the evening. You're listening to PHLY Flyers. How can you not be excited on a day like today? Joining me for this awesome show we have planned for you is not only Philadelphia's #1 hockey beat reporter, Charlie O'Connor, but Broad Street Hockey's own Kelly Hinkle. And if you think I'm excited, you just don't understand how much I love Slapshot. So welcome to Reviews Day Tuesdays. I don't think we have much else to talk about.
Bill, you're already going to lose the contingent of 3 people who get angry at how much you curse.
Oh no!
You're the one who swears
That's
too much,
true.
Charlie.
Apparently.
If you really have a problem with the language, you probably didn't like last night's homework. No, we're not going to do Reviews Day Tuesday. I was just joking.
But why?
The Slapshot we will have to put on hold for another day because today, ladies and gentlemen, he's here. He has arrived. Matvei Michkov, our Russian savior, the top prospect in the organization, 7th overall pick in the 2023 NHL draft, has touched down on North American soil. So that paranoia that we discussed yesterday, Charlie, that little bit of dread that until he's actually here, we're just going to have this sinking feel. Like it wasn't the top feeling in my mind, but it was back there. Like, all right, but he's not here yet. Well, he is. He has arrived. Matvei Michkov picked up at JFK this morning by Danny Briere and Keith Jones. Danny carrying the sticks for him. I absolutely love.
I love it.
How are we feeling this morning, gang?
Pretty neat. It's pretty cool. I mean, like, we were all kind of thinking this was going to happen yesterday. Charlie was making fun of us for stalking airplanes in the chat. But here he is. We were right. He was on an airplane, landed at JFK, gets picked up by Dad and Fun Uncle, and now he's going to be here.
And
it's
that,
awesome.
that last picture has Barry Hanrahan in the background.
Hanrahan.
Yeah, there he is.
Where's Hanrahan?
He's an ape.
He's the guy on the left. That's Barry, right?
I think it is. It looks like Hanrahan.
Looks like Barry.
Yeah.
I'm guessing they probably brought the goalie coach that speaks Russian. I would imagine he's there somewhere, right?
Not goalie coach.
Oh, I thought he was a goalie coach.
Slava is like I don't even know if Slava Kuznetsov, who is probably going to be the translator this one, I don't even know if he's a full-time employee anymore.
Professional best friend.
He was the skating coach
kind
of for a while, but now that they have Angelo Ricci as the skills coach, I don't think Slava is used as much, but he's around. And I bet he will probably be the translator. But no, the goalie coach is Dilibal. I don't think Dilibal knows Russian.
No, I figured like he was like an assistant. I don't know where I got goalie coach in my mind.
Slava's the Russian speaker that they have around.
Hanging out.
I don't know. It'll actually be interesting. That might be something I ask tomorrow because there's going to be a introductory press conference with Michkov, a translator, very well could be Slava, and then also general manager Daniel Briere at 11 a.m. tomorrow in Voorhees. But I'll be interested if they are going to have a personal translator. Hopefully, it's not someone who is a gambling addict like Shohei Ohtani's translator. Lord. But I'm curious if that's something that they're going to provide him or if he's going to bring over or if they're just going to kind of let him sort of learn English on the fly and use a translator as infrequently as possible so that he kind of, trial by fire sort of thing. Because I'm sure right now he doesn't know English that well. It's not that he can't speak at all. He spoke a few words to us when we interviewed him at the draft last year, but he's very clearly not fluent.
Oh, of course not.
But presumably he wants to be. And these guys over time, Alex Ovechkin, when he came over, didn't know much English. And is he, the most loquacious English speaker now? No, but he can do interviews easily.
Good enough,
He's fine. And I'm sure that Michkov probably wants to be the same. So I'm interested to see how that's going to play out. But the big news today, obviously, is that he's here.
He's here.
It's big for a couple reasons. But I think before we get into the ins and outs of it, just the fact that he's here, fans just, it felt, I don't even think it's like, yes, there is an element of relief, but I just feel like there were a lot of fans too that just telling them isn't enough.
Yeah.
There's a lot of doubting Thomases in this fan base where they need to see it.
Is that a real thing?
It's a Catholic thing.
It's a real thing, yeah.
It's a Catholic thing.
Welcome to Catholic school, everyone.
Thomas the Apostle did not believe that Jesus was back from the dead until he could see him with his own eyes and touch the wounds. Well, I don't know if you'll be able to touch Matvei Michkov, but you will be able to see him.
I insist on being able to touch.
I
Like
need
just
to
one
go
of
up.
these.
I need to go and
A
poke
little
him.
boop on the nose. Right
No,
on his
it's
nose.
I'm feeling a lot of good things. Relief is among them. Like just all right, and this part is now like that's a big step. Him getting on the plane, him arriving, him being with Danny and Jonesy, like he's in good hands now. Like that is a major relief. And just like, I mean, from a content standpoint, awesome. You know, we were going to talk about a movie from 1977 today. We don't have to do that now. But like, today to me is just one of these days we get to celebrate because so few things have gone well for us. Even the things that have happened that we think are good have gone poorly for us. Basically, since Patrick Kane scored that goal, nothing has gone right for us. Like, even like, oh yeah, we brought up this new exciting defenseman, Shane Gostisbehere, amazing rookie year, scoring like Bobby Orr. Yeah, 5 years later, everyone hates him. Yeah. We traded him for nothing. We
really
like all the shit that even like the first thing, and I'm going to show these slides because I think I showed these like maybe the second day of the draft. It was a show Charlie wasn't here for. I can't remember the context.
These did not look familiar to me.
And it was like all the things that have happened basically since 2010. And these were mostly just off the top of my head. Like, you know, yeah, we go and sign Bob. That's all well and good. And Bob makes his debut and it's fun. And, you know, these 4 or 8 slides that we have are bookended by Sergei Bobrovsky lifts Stanley Cup as member of Florida Panthers, you know, like, and all the shit that happened in between.
That happens to every fan base, though. That's a little bit of a rant here. Flyers fans are so obsessed with the idea of, well, they all go on to win championships elsewhere. Every fucking team has that happen to them. It happens to everybody.
Every other team sometimes like gets to the conference final, though.
Fair. But I'm just saying, like players that play for your team always win elsewhere. It happens to everybody. You're not special.
Like when we talked about Rusty Fedotenko, that happens to everybody. Franchise cornerstones, it rarely happens with because those guys tend to stay where they are.
Yeah, but like
at least through their prime.
I mean, was Bob a franchise cornerstone?
The starting goaltender for like the number 2 seed in the East?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even think he's like the 5th best player on that team.
Well, now
he's good, but
he is now.
This got way spicier than I thought it was going to.
All the stuff that happened in between those two things happening, also very negative. Even things we thought were good at the time. Okay. Oh, we got Ryan Ellis for nothing. You know, that's cool. Yeah, how'd that work?
Not great.
Whole lot of stuff has gone. The Shea Weber offer sheet. That was a great day. That was a celebratory day, man.
Yeah.
How the fuck are they going to match this? They don't have the cash on hand.
Fair.
They did.
Good that they did.
I mean, Nashville's made it up. They've been fine.
Yeah, that's fair.
They've been fine. And like Ron Hextall, the prodigal son returns. Yeah, he sucked. It's actually one of the reasons we're rebuilding is because he did so bad. Like all these things that have happened in the last 14 years have gotten us to this point where, yes, it is insane. And like Charlie pointed out yesterday, maybe a little weird that we are obsessed with a 19-year-old Russian who doesn't speak a bit of English. He speaks a bit, but
totally
he doesn't speak English. We are obsessed, and it is because, look, oh, yeah, we won the lottery. How fun was that? Remember, we got the consensus number 1 pick for 18 months, Nolan Patrick. Yeah, he's out of hockey. You know, like a whole lot of bad shit has happened. And yet here we are. We have a day to celebrate. And certainly the rebuild is not over. The rebuild is not close to over. They have a lot of work to do in the next few weeks, next few months, next few years.
Yeah.
But today we have the one thing we need. It's hope.
Yeah.
We have real tangible hope. And I realize the idea of tangible hope is like kind of weird. But we have this guy who represents the thing we're missing. The superstar element, he obviously needs to live up to this. He's not a finished product. The idea that we were going to get him in 3 years, it's like, oh, he's entering his prime. You know, we're going to have him when he's far more developed. That's not him right now.
Yeah.
But he's here, and we get to watch him this season. We get to watch him this training camp, this preseason. We get to watch the evolution of his career, basically from the beginning. Coming over to teenage, it's fun. We get to see the very start. And it all starts today. He is on the ground. I don't know if he's in Philly yet. area, whatever. But he's on the ground in North America.
They might be
and
on
that's
the
a huge
They
step.
might still be on the Jersey Turnpike.
Who the hell knows about traffic?
Yeah.
Hopefully, maybe they sent the corporate helicopter really needs to be picking this guy up.
That is
but,
true.
I
you
was
know.
thinking Comcast could have sent the jet to JFK and
Yeah,
do a little
get a
Taylor
charter.
Swift, a little hop from
Get a-
JFK.
get a
to
charter.
Philly.
Hop, skip, and a jump.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, a 7-minute plane ride
That's
from JFK.
That's the picture. The picture was just going from one terminal to the private terminal. It wasn't. Did he fly commercial? I guess
think
so,
he did.
right?
The picture of him on the plane looked like a commercial.
it
first
certainly
class.
looks
So
like
that
it.
whole
Yeah.
thing about it being what happened yesterday? Do we have? I guess we'll get answers on that tomorrow.
Well, I mean, what probably happened was he flew from Russia to Dubai,
Right.
and then he flew out of Dubai like late yesterday.
Yes.
can
And
you?
then and because you can't because you fly from Dubai to New York.
You can't get a direct flight.
I would
from
imagine
the
there
U.S.
aren't
to Russia,
any.
right?
It's quite far.
And also,
you can like go over
And
the
also,
top.
yeah,
there's also
the
the fact that like
international.
the two countries are like
Problem.
kind of in a second Cold War.
Yeah.
I understand. I'm just. I don't know if you can fly to Russia or not. I haven't looked into it recently.
I haven't
You
either.
can, just
But
not
like,
from
you
here.
could just like go over the top, right? Like it's not that far.
They go over the top for a lot of places.
Ask.
Sure.
You can see Russia from Alaska. You know.
I've heard.
Apparently.
I can't remember her name. She dropped the puck at a game though.
Not important.
Yeah, let's not get into all that. But how, like, what is today I feel, yes, relieved, excited, but like, I just think it's a day to celebrate. How do we feel about this step now complete? He is here.
It feels. I don't know, because I was not one of these people who was like scared that he was never going to come. Like once we knew that he was coming, like once we got that confirmation that like this was the year that he was coming, his contract's getting terminated, they made all these arrangements, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, cool, he's coming.
Yeah.
So like I wasn't ever really like nervous that we were never going to see him. It's cool that he's here super early. I think it's a great sign for like his enthusiasm for joining the team and becoming part of this organization and, you know, impressing the brass and probably John Tortorella. It's cool that he's going to get to meet the guys and hang out with them, the guys that are in town right now. We know that at least a few of them are. He's going to get to work out in the facilities. He's going to get to like meet everyone that works. So it's just like a lot of time for him to settle in before he has to get to the actual hockey. And I think that's a positive thing because it's a lot. Like you talked about in your article, he's a teenager.
Yeah.
He's moving across the world by himself with no one. Like it's a lot for him. So it's cool that he's got like a nice big buffer of time before he's got to get to actual work that he can kind of like acclimate to what his new life is going to be.
Yeah, I think kind of where I'm at is that this is simultaneously not a big deal at all and also a low-key big deal. Like it's not a big deal for the reasons that the people on social media are acting like it's a big deal. Like he was always coming.
Yeah.
Like once he signed the contract and once they terminated the deal, he was coming. This is no shock. This was an inevitability. It was just a matter of when. The reason why it is a low-key big deal is not like, oh my God, he's here, let's throw a party. It's that not only is he going to be a Flyer, this seems to hint that like he really wants to be a Flyer and wants to do it right.
Yeah.
That he wants to get over here early. As Kelly said, you know, he wants to integrate, you know, with the organization. He wants to meet his teammates for a month and try to become buddies with a couple of them at least. He wants to start working with the trainers and whatever changes they want to make to his training regimen, he wants to get on that and wants to be working in Voorhees, wants to talk to John Tortorella and get an idea what maybe he's in store for with regards to that, which is quite a lot.
Yes.
Like it's a big deal because like, and I put this in my article, no one would have begrudged Matvei Michkov. I certainly wouldn't have criticized him for it if he would have came over on August 22nd.
Yeah.
Because, hey, I'm about to uproot my entire life. I want to spend as much time as I can with my family before I enter a new chapter of my entire life. That would have been totally fair. But the fact that he's going to come over here early, and we don't know for a fact he's going to stay here. Maybe he's going to go back for a little bit. But he's at the very least getting his feet wet here and getting an idea of what to expect when camp starts. That's big because it showcases the level of commitment that he has to making this work, both on the ice and off the ice. That's a big deal. Like, it doesn't really matter that much when he gets here in the sense of, like, well, until I saw him, I wasn't going to believe. Like, nah, he was coming.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's here early, it does, in my mind, it bodes well. It bodes well for the degree to which he is invested in making this work.
Yeah.
And that's cool.
I didn't think like, oh, he's never coming. It's just so many things can go wrong, as we have seen with like the 2 top Russians to join the organization prior to him in the last couple of years. Like a whole lot of shit can go wrong. And the fact that it hasn't, like, yeah, he got the contract terminated. He signed the LC. That's all well and good. But like until he was here, I was just like, there was 10% of me that was, all right, just waiting for this part to be over with because this seems to be the most complicated part, you know? And now he's here and it's, all right, now it's just about the hockey. Like now it becomes a hockey story and it's not all this other shit. Yeah, he does have to get used to a whole new continent, a whole new culture, a whole new way of living. I can't imagine Philadelphia, South Jersey is a ton like St. Petersburg or whatever.
Can't
you know,
imagine.
I would be shocked if they were all that similar. But at least this one part is over with now, and it's like, all right, man. I just bet you're over 46.5 points. Let's say it. Like now it's I want to see this dude play hockey and not I just want to see this guy show up.
We've reached the let's fucking go stage of MICHKOVMANIA.
I started seeing on the timeline, and it's not just hockey. I see it with football too. I always think like people in the offseason are insane. Like this is like wishing away summer break, guys. What do we? Oh, I can't wait to have hockey back in my life. I can't wait to have football back in my life. Like I love my job. I think my job, it is my dream job other than Ghostbuster and Pro Wrestler. This is my absolute dream job. I like doing nothing though. Like I really love.
Rules.
I come here from like 1 to 2. I do the show, and then that's pretty much it. I am not in a huge rush to get the season started. I am legitimately excited for the start of the season now. Like, pumped. Suddenly going to see Def Leppard tonight is not the most exciting thing today.
You're going to see Def Leppard?
Yeah.
That's fun.
Ava just texted me there's extra tickets.
It was,
Nice.
it was funny, actually. Funny story about that. So a regular listener of the pod actually reached out to me this morning after the Michkov news came out. And basically, I don't think he was aware of like when. Truthfully, I'm not aware of exactly where Michkov is. But he was like, I just kind of wanted to see if maybe, you know, around like the Comcast Center or around the facility, like, you know, if maybe he was there. And I hear like a big roar from the you know from a crowd of people. I'm like, oh my God, is it Michkov? Is it Michkov? Not sure. He later finds out it is a member of Def Leppard.
Still got it, baby.
Was signing
Still
autographs.
Outstanding.
Incredible.
That's awesome. We have a lot of Michkov to talk, but first, I gotta tell you about our friends at Rite Aid. That's right, Rite Aid. And I started telling you yesterday about the LO Market and this exclusive line of Rite Aid brand candy, snacks, and pantry items that I think are a home run, quite honestly, or let's call it a hat trick. You know, this wasn't even the copy. I just was like, oh no, it's a hockey show. Let's
sports.
say something. Yeah, sports. Yeah, so the Rite Aid LO Market. You can get anything, store brand, more affordable, absolutely delicious as well. Starting with candy, they've got classics like peach rings and Starlight mints to gummy butterflies and sour worms. Who doesn't love some sour worms? Plus nuts and trail mixes packed with vitamins, minerals, healthy fats, fiber, and protein. Popcorn. You get the buttery, you get the sweet and salty, the cheddar, sea salt, whatever kind of popcorn you like. They got it at the Rite Aid LO Market. Don't forget granola featuring whole grains, plus pantry staples like honey and seasonings. We all know prices of things are out of control right now. Just absolutely freaking ridiculous. Why not save a few bucks without sacrificing any quality? Check out Rite Aid. When you get a snack attack, get LO Market delivered same day or buy online and pick up in store. Go to riteaid.com/shop to order. While we're talking about saving some money.
Hey-o.
Hey.
I remembered them today. Didn't need Ava to come in the room and hand them to me. You got to get ready for the season ahead with quality shades built to last And you got to do it with our friends at Shady Rays, because they have you covered with premium polarized shades that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company offering a world-class product rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. Their shades have durable frames and crystal clear optics, making them the perfect choice for all outdoor adventures. And they have hundreds of options to choose from, so you're bound to find the perfect pair to match your style. And we talk about clear optics. You know how polarized sunglasses can sometimes mess with your eyes, especially if you're looking at a screen or something. I'm reading this off my laptop, not having a problem whatsoever. You're going to love the quality of Shady Rays. I wear them every day, driving, whatever it is, in studio. You know, I have these bright lights on me. It's not too bad to have some shades sometimes. And exclusively for our listeners right now, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Head to shadyrays.com and use code PHLY for 35% off polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 300,000 people. And don't forget the lost or broken replacement protection. If your shades ever go missing or take an unexpected hit, don't sweat it. They have the most insane protection in all of eyewear. Every pair is backed by lost or broken replacements. And if you don't love your shades, exchange them for a new pair or return worry-free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. The team always has your back with personal and fast support. So make sure you head to shadyrays.com right now and use code PHLY for 35% off polarized glasses. Shady Rays, I love them. Bet you will too. All right, back to Michkov.
Nice.
Back to Matvei.
The arrival itself is what I want to focus on.
Okay.
I love Danny, and the idea of like Danny and Jonesy having to go through TSA like without a ticket. It's just like we got to go meet them, like, you know, back in the old days when you could go through security and meet someone at the gate.
How does that work?
No, he's at you can go to arrivals.
You go to
without a ticket.
arrivals?
Yeah, you just can't get very far into the airport
Okay.
without
Because
a ticket.
I've never done that. But
Yeah.
I assume that they're like, I'm just thinking back to watching movies when everyone has the little signs they hold up.
I watch a lot of 90 Day Fiance. You can meet someone coming off the airplane. You just can't go very far in.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's probably where they were.
Yes, at arrivals,
so
yeah.
The idea of them going up to JFK and getting him, but I want to talk about the hat because I'm obsessed with hats.
You are. It's
Let's
a good hat.
analyze the hat.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's orange, right?
I can't quite tell if it's orange or red.
It looks red to me.
It looks
It
I've
looks red in
seen-
that picture. There's another picture where it looks orange.
Now I
That looks orange.
had to match today with a hat with a Veterans Stadium patch on it as well. It's every day I have to make a hat decision, and this one pretty easy for me today. But the idea that he stepped off the plane, this is what makes Jonesy, I think, and this is what makes him valuable to the organization. Like, I'm just picturing him going like,
Here you
before a
go.
camera shows up, here you go. Like, whenever he says to me, Bill, I know the market. This is what he's talking. The dumb little shit that we just absolutely eat up. I've been trying to find this hat for like an hour now. I'm sure someone out there will be able to find a link for me. But the Veterans Stadium patch. Now, I do
nice.
have a bit of a problem with a snapback Phillies hat. I just think Phillies hats are supposed to be fitted, but whatever.
like a
Maybe they didn't
snapback.
have his dome size, and they just wanted to make sure he had a hat as soon as he got off the plane.
You were
I'm
such
fine
a
with it.
obsessive.
I am. But I just like it's such a funny, perfect Bryce Harper-esque touch.
Yes.
I wonder. Look, I think most likely this was a Keith Jones touch. However, I'm not ruling out the possibility that this was his idea. I mean, we've seen pictures of him wearing Flyers gear. One of his buddies was wearing a Ben Simmons jersey.
Yeah, that's
He's
true.
got a Flyers shirt on, and I would imagine he got off the airplane with the shirt
Oh
on.
yes, the
Yeah.
shirt absolutely. The hat, I do think probably Jonesy, but
Like a little gift.
I'm putting it at like 20% chance that this was Michkov.
There's a possibility.
Buying the hat. Maybe he bought the hat in Russia, and that's why it's a snapback because it's like a semi knockoff.
Okay.
And then he gets off the plane and puts it on because he knows there's going to be pictures. I'm not ruling out that possibility. We might have a master panderer on our hands. It's possible.
Oh, he might not be Bryce level, but he's pretty good. He knows what he's doing.
Oh,
Those
he does.
Instagram stories
that's-
are not a coincidence.
Like we talked about yesterday, maybe he doesn't quite. It's hard to understand Philadelphia because we're lunatics and all mentally ill.
Yeah.
But like, I do think he at least gets some idea of the fervor when, like, he looks at his Instagram following and is like, yo, none of these people speak the language I speak. Like, they all have Flyers logos as their profile pictures. It's definitely possible that he is playing into this.
Actually, so Michael in our chat has a good question. After this series against the Twins, Phillies are coming home. Does Michkov throw out first pitch in this weekend series? Is that what's coming?
I think
I feel like after he wears the hat, they're gonna call an ass.
Yes.
At the even if it wasn't planned, this is now on the table.
I am not the most adept at understanding other cultures. Has my man ever thrown a baseball?
I was gonna say, what if he sucks at throwing and then the whole fan base just gets whipped into a frenzy because like he can't make it to home plate with the ball?
Maybe you let him go out there.
He's got to practice a few times.
Maybe you let him go out there with like a hockey ball and a stick, and he just like wrists one to the fanatic.
Yes,
yeah,
that would be cool.
That would be
and I want to
amazing.
point something out too, because this is something that I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago I got a lot of shit for, and I still to this day don't understand why people don't get it. But I do think there's a generational disconnect where like people under the age of 40 don't view this as a bad thing, and people over the age of 40 think it's the worst thing in the world. Pandering is not bad.
Oh no, it's
pandering is good. Pandering shows that an athlete cares about how the fans perceive him. It is not like the idea that something has to be 100% sincere to be meaningful is ridiculous, because to be quite honest with you, there is nothing that is 100% sincere.
No.
Everything you do to be nice to someone, it's not entirely because like, oh my God, I care so much about that person. It's because you care that they are happy that you're doing something nice for them. And that's the whole point of pandering. Like, it doesn't matter to me whether Matvei Michkov came up with this idea on his own because he now has decided he's going to be a diehard Phillies fan and it's the most important thing in the world. The fact that he cared enough to put the hat on is what matters.
That's sincere.
That's what matters.
Right.
That's the important part.
Yes.
So the negative connotation of the word pandering should be retired.
Agreed.
Like, Bryce Harper panders. He panders constantly. It shows how much he cares and how much he loves being in Philadelphia, that he wants Philadelphia fans to like him. That is the good part of pandering.
I do think, well, this is a totally different conversation, but who cares? We have a 60-minute show to fill every day. I do think what Bryce Harper does now is a different...
He's crossed over.
It's a different word than pandering. I don't know what it is, but like Bryce Harper grew up in Las Vegas. There's no roots there. Like, they just now got a hockey team. They're going to get a baseball team. They just got a football team. But he's never been part of like a sports community like that before. And he's this like basically celebrity from the time he's 16 years old. Then he goes to the Washington Nationals that don't have a fan base. He's never been a part of something before. He finally is, and he threw himself into it. I believe it was absolutely pandering when he started. But then, like Kelly said, like crossed over into something else. Like the Wooder thing is not pandering because we don't write Wooder. I say Wooder. Like that's how I pronounce it. But I wouldn't write it out like that's making a regional joke that we make.
Yeah.
Like that's the same thing as like the Clearwater t-shirts. This isn't pandering. It's a fucking joke about us.
True.
And like I just think he's like ingratiated himself. Like he's completely thrown himself into it. And I don't expect that from a 19-year-old kid who is from a different world, basically.
My view, and
I agree.
This is the point I made about pandering is that the reason why pandering has a negative connotation is because there's this belief that some actions are calculated and that's bad, and other actions are sincere and that's good. And my argument is that if you don't think every single action ever made in existence isn't calculated, you are hopelessly naive. Everything is calculated. Everything all of us do is calculated. And what matters is, do you care enough to do that calculation?
Yeah.
That's my point.
No, it's like the idea that he cares enough to do it is plenty. And like, and it's more so than Michkov. It's just one of those stupid little fucking things that when we talk about what this organization was a few years ago, and we can blame it on the people we've blamed it on, or we can just all go, this is what happens when a corporation runs something, you know, like the fact that the fans appreciate stupid shit like this that costs at most, let's call it $35, $40.
Yeah.
Very little.
Like, come on. Like, a nice hat, maybe run you $50 absolute tops. It's cost you essentially nothing, and it scores points with your fan base. Do it. This is part of the new era of, and I know it's dumb and it's ultimately meaningless.
It's not.
But it isn't.
I don't think it is.
It really isn't. People care about this shit.
They do.
I still
Great.
when I picture Shane Gostisbehere in my head, I picture him wearing the black Phillies hat with the white pig. Like that's what I think of.
Yeah.
Like I remember it being a big deal that Mike Vick wore a Yankees hat. And it's like, well, he's worn one his whole life. He's worn this at every stop. He's worn this since it's what he wears. It's like, get him a Phil's hat, though. Like, when you're as good as like Allen Iverson, you get to wear any hat you want.
This is true.
But like, we care so much about this dumb shit, and we are these fans that it's like, it's Philadelphia. It's not an individual team. If it says Philly, like, I don't like soccer. I'm anti-soccer. I think it's a communist plot. But like, go Union. I want the Union. I don't want them to lose. I want to go Union, when they're in the title game or whatever, I'm rooting for them. Like, if it says Philadelphia, we're for it. Therefore, just reach that little out, that tiny little bit that it takes no effort whatsoever that scores you so many stupid points.
And also, fans spent the last 5 years complaining so loudly that the organization didn't care about
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly.
This is
That's
them
the key.
caring about. Keith Jones cares enough to bring a stupid hat to a kid because he knows you're going to find a little bit of joy in it. They care about what we think about them.
Yeah.
And that's important.
That was a big part of the frustration in large sections of the fan base surrounding the Dave Scott era Comcast Spectacor and the Dave Scott era Flyers, was that they didn't care enough to show how much we matter.
Right.
That the fans matter. And they were the Dave Scott viewpoint, which could have actually worked out in the grand scheme of things if the team was good, was that we're creating something new, and once the team gets good, it's not going to matter that we're not doing all the same things that Ed did. And that didn't work because then the team ultimately sucked. And then it became like, well, the team's bad and this doesn't feel like the way it used to be. What's even the point of this?
Yeah.
Which is part of the reason why Dan Hilferty and Keith Jones and everybody are doing so much outreach to try to show that, yes, we do care about the fact that Ed wanted the logo to not be split down. Like, just like dumb shit like that doesn't actually really matter.
It doesn't matter.
But it does.
No,
but it also does.
So you, like, whatever you like doesn't, like, if it's what the fans want and this doesn't change, it doesn't cost you a dime.
Just do it.
There's no difference. Just do it.
Just do it.
Just do it. And this is the dumb little shit that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Put a fucking Phillies hat on it, and boom, we're happy. We're going to spend half of a show talking about this dumb thing.
We are simple
rather than
people.
like, yo, is Jetluchenko the right pick? Like, you know what? Maybe it is. I don't care because Matvei Michkov is here and he's wearing a Phillies hat. Like, it's very, very simple. And they ignored it. And it did feel like for a long time, they were like recruiting this fan base that they didn't have, and they didn't care how many of their own actual fans they offended. Like, oh yeah, we're just gonna have new fans who will get on board. It's like, yeah, maybe if you win.
Yeah, maybe if you win.
But
that's the ticket, boys.
You didn't. Like, so
You definitely did not do that.
You're kind of stuck with the ones you have. Maybe pander to them a bit. And finally, we're seeing a bit of that, and it's real freaking nice.
I like it.
Charlie, we're tomorrow at the press conference. You have hundreds, I'm sure, of smart questions to ask, things that need to be answered for one reason or another. Could you find out where they got the hat? What do you
know?
I feel like that is a question of like after the press conference, I can go up to Jonesy,
take
be
Jonesy
like,
aside.
Jonesy, like, so tell me the hat story.
Yeah, where'd the hat come from? Just Bill wants to know. No, but the press conference tomorrow at 11. We'll see if it affects the time of the show. We will let you know. Without spoiling anything, Charlie, you have a lot of content. You put out an article today about his arrival.
Yeah, check that out on allphly.com. It is for everyone, not
free
just
for all.
so free for everybody.
But I'm sure with the press conference and all of the hoopla, you're going to have some more content coming. What are some things you're like eager to find out without spoiling content?
In all honesty, the thing I am the most interested to find out is what the Flyers are going to do to try to ease his transition. Like, that's the thing I'm most interested about, because in the end, like, he's either going to be really, really good or he's not going to be really good. Like, that's just going to depend upon how his style translates, how quickly he's going to get the hang of the North American game, how good he really is. He's a really good prospect, but really good prospects bust sometimes. And it's just going to come down to how good he is. That's not really my focus right now, because that will be the focus of training camp and preseason, and then the beginning of the regular season into the entire year. My focus right now is, okay, this is a 19-year-old kid who just got to a new country, who barely knows the language, who isn't familiar with anything. What are you, as an organization, going to do to ease this transition and make him as comfortable as possible so that he is in the best possible frame of mind to succeed on the ice? Now, it's very possible he could succeed on the ice even if he's freaking miserable here. Maybe he's just that good. But I guarantee it would be easier if he's happy. And I want the Flyers to explain what they are doing to make it easier for him to be happy here. And that's not just Danny Briere and Keith Jones and Dan Hilferty. Like, that's the players too.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I want to know, like, hey, like, you know, Joel, you taking Matvei to a Phillies game? Like, you bringing him out on Saturday night to hit up the bars in Old City? And, like, I'm not saying this in a bad way. Like, I want it, like, it's important for him to become friends with these guys. And it really should be an organizational effort to make sure he feels good about the organization he's joining.
Absolutely. And especially in light of the fact that there's this growing narrative that so many players don't want to play for the Flyers and Danny Briere can't keep players. Like, making sure this kid is happy is important because, again, like, he already seems extremely excited to be a Flyer. So you just have to not fuck that up, which I don't think they will.
Do we have any idea where he's staying tonight? Like, money,
they're going to put him up in a
easy
really
money's
nice,
on a hotel.
a really nice hotel.
Yeah, I would assume nice downtown hotel or something.
You would think.
But any chance he's like at Danny's house,
Joel's basement,
at Coots' house, at Joel's like bed and breakfast that he's
would
running.
be incredible if they redo if they redo the Coots. The Coots Danny connection.
Just a big team sleepover at Danny's. Like, does Jonesy still have like the ranch? Maybe there's enough room for the whole team to have a sleepover.
Does Zamula live with somebody, or is he on his, like, putting him with Zamula?
Well,
would make a lot of sense.
Faraby's house.
How many people live with Farabee?
Farabee
Everybody.
bought Coots' house,
right?
But like Coots' house was not like, it's not like Coots bought Danny's house,
right?
Like, that was just Coots' house that he bought when he was a downtown guy, and then he got married and has kids, and then he bought a different house to be his like adult
in New Jersey,
house.
like everyone.
And
does.
now Farabee's running the kids' house.
Right.
Tyson Forrester lives in the kids' house. Wade Allison used to, obviously does not anymore.
Rip.
I don't remember if Zamul is living there. I'll have to go back through. But I know Zamul is kind of part of that crew.
He is part of the gang,
is,
right?
yeah.
And that'll be good because Zamul obviously is a fluent Russian speaker, and he can maybe be the translator so that Michkov can hang out with the gang and be able to communicate without, you know, just like in a couple words, you know.
What are we most excited for next with Michkov? Is it like the frenzy, people jumping on the band? Like, that's what I'm excited for now. Is like tomorrow is a press conference. Like, I'm sure people will be there. Like, outside of the media, I'm sure plenty of fans are going to be like, "Oh, fuck yeah, I'm going down there." But like, when the rookies report, how crazy is it going to be? Do we think this is like T.O. on the Eagles level, directing traffic out front of Voorhees? Like, is that what's going to happen?
I think rookie camp is going to be huge.
Yeah.
I think the amount of people that are going to show up for rookie camp to see him on the ice is going to be bonkers. And I'm really excited for it because it's going to be the first time really since I've covered this team that I'm going to get to experience that degree of like sheer euphoria from the fans. It's going to be really cool because I started covering this team full time. I was a blogger. I had sort of access starting in 2011, 2012, but I really started covering this team full time in 2015. And there were moments, to be sure. You know, the Flyers were good in 2015, 2016. That was the first Dave Haxall year. They made the playoffs. You know, we talked, was it last week, about the the Ed Snyder game, the bracelet. So like I've seen the passion, to be sure, not necessarily always in a positive form, but I've seen the passion and the anger, but I've never really seen, unadulterated happiness. And I feel like that's what it's going to be. And I'm just excited to experience it. I think it's going to be really cool.
It's the thing, like, we've been doing this together a long time. We started in 2016 together. The idea the whole time was like, oh, well, when they're good, this thing will really take off, man. And luckily we've been able to like get it through 2-3 different areas, a whole bunch of coaches, a whole bunch of GMs. But like, it's actually coming, or at least the idea that it's possible is. I know we've had some false starts. Listen, I thought Ivan Provorov was the next Duncan Keith. I thought all these things. I truly believed, like, that picture of the defenseman, like, oh, yeah, that's going to be it, man.
Oh, yeah.
It fucking wasn't. I don't know what to tell you. Like, we've been through this. And then the first year with Vigneault, and okay, we have some new faces. We got a little younger. We supplemented the vets. But this is like, okay, we have a guy. There's one dude we can point to and be like, all right, build around that. Mm-hmm. We have the thing it takes to get good. Now you just got to do all that. And there's some other very important pieces that are already here that hopefully hopefully Michkov can like be a part of their development as well. Like, I don't know what Morgan Frost is, but if you put him with Matvei Michkov, maybe it's something.
Yeah.
Hey, Tyson Forster scored 20 goals as a rookie. What can he score if there's a wizard with the puck playing opposite wing of him? Like, there's all sorts of, damn, man. Got Owen Tippett shooting a lot. What if all of a sudden he's getting slot passes from Michkov, There's this thing that can actually lead to them being good again. And that's so fucking exciting because it sucked, man. Like, it sucked.
It's been not fun.
The best times have been like, oh, that was good. That was nice.
I would argue the last time that Flyers fans were truly happy without qualifications. Because people are happy when, Claude Giroux scores a hat trick in game 82 to get them in the playoffs. Like, that's cool. People were happy during the 2019-2020 season when it seemed like they were turning the corner. But there were still doubts. There were always doubts. There was always a vocal contingent that didn't believe in any of it. Ultimately, they were proven right. But for a long time, any of the happiness was always tempered by doubt. I would say the last time that the fan base was truly universally excited and happy was the 2012 Penguins series.
Game 6.
That was the last time. Maybe you could lean it into game 1 of the Devils series when Danny scores the overtime winner. Yeah. But like, that was the last time when everyone was collectively happy and there was nothing that people had in the back of their heads of like, this is actually bad. It's been a long time. It's been 12 plus years.
It's the last time people were happiness without qualification. The guy who scored the overtime winner was just carrying sticks for a team. Basically his kid now.
Yeah.
Actually, he's younger than his kid, I'm pretty sure. So it has been that fucking long. It's a day to be happy, Flyers fans. And before we continue with today's MICHKOVMANIA celebration, we are going to talk about, the search for better.
Ooh.
We're driven by the search for better, as is General Manager Danny Briere. And that's why you need Indeed, because when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. It's to match with Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. You can ditch the busy work.
Yes.
And use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster.
I missed that for a second.
Yeah, I had to make sure I said it right this time. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites by leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day. Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences. So the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. You got to join the 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of the show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about it on this podcast. Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Need to hire? You need Indeed. It's like, why am I saying it wrong now?
You did great.
And while we're talking, I got to make a quick hat change for a little bit.
God, that thing is amazing.
It's great.
The sheer number of hats that you have.
It's incredible.
I gotta buy this hat.
I have a problem.
problem.
You gotta shop at FOCO, baby.
FOCO's back.
FOCO is back. I've been
Yes.
waiting for months to be able to put this hat on in a read, and luckily I had it in my car today. And you gotta check out FOCO, man, because they have the absolute best officially licensed gear for all sports and fandoms, whether it's hoodies, jackets, beachwear, even overalls. There's something for fans of almost every occasion. And if you don't believe me, beachwear right here. Forget a bathing suit. Listen, I like to go to the beach. I'm not the best at remembering to put on some sunscreen. It's not something I think to do a lot. Boom. Get a nice fit.
That's such a privileged thing to say. As someone with freckles and red hair, that is such a privileged thing to say, Bill, that you forget to put sunscreen on.
I forget to put it on, but luckily FOCO has my back, because they have straw hats just like this, and they have them for all the teams in the city. So if you're looking for anything like this, or maybe you're in the market for toys, collectibles, or novelty items for your man cave, she shed, or podcast set, you've got to use FOCO for all your team gear needs. FOCO always has our back for Philly sports, and they have yours too. Get the best gear around by using the link in the description of this show. For all non-presale items, use promo code PHLY10 for 10% off today. FOCO.com, PHLY10. Get yourself a Flyers straw hat to celebrate MICHKOVMANIA. All right.
I need that hat.
Wardrobe change complete. That's I need like props for every read, I think. Like
I mean, that would be fun.
It makes the read better if I could just put on some sunglasses, put on a hat. I think it just
Get
seems
the character.
Yeah. Just assume
Just
a
bring like a
character.
flag with Rite Aid on it.
Like the Ghost Sports flag.
Just send me some drugs, right? All right, so we have a mailbag question of the day I want to get to that I found a little interesting. Okay. It's like I don't want to bring down the mood of today, but I think it's a question worth asking, and it's from a Twitter user Z. Our mailbag question of the day.
Z.
It's can y'all discuss whether all the hype around Michkov will create problems with his teammates? Will there be animosity between him and his teammates because of his fame and notoriety? And this is okay. This is on the surface, you're like, okay, maybe you're just looking for a problem here.
Yes.
But I go back to Danny's press conference. Was it at the deadline? Was it July 1? I don't know. Whenever it was.
He does a lot of press conferences.
Yeah. It's like the only thing we've had for a few months now is Danny talking. He's asked, because I think it was in response to that report coming out, like if Michkov's not on the first line and it was a translation problem, it was like if he's not on the first team, which is the Flyers.
Right.
Yeah.
And it was like, do you think there's any chance he goes to the Phantoms, basically? And like the answer to that is no, obviously.
No.
But Danny flat out says, we don't have anyone as good as this kid. We don't have anyone who does what he can do. We don't have anyone as good as this kid, is what Danny Briere basically said to the media.
I mean,
they don't. Is that what you want to tell your players? That like, if I'm Travis Konechny, I'm going like, oh yeah? I'm not saying this is a problem. I'm just saying there could be, like, maybe at training camp, if Garnett Hathaway and I just spent a year fighting with these guys, maybe I'm throwing a hit.
So here's what I'll say about it.
You're not trying to hurt him.
Here's what I'll say
just
about
a little
that.
welcome to the NHL.
Look, I can see those kinds of things happening because there's a little bit of like
not saying boredom.
Initiation.
Yeah.
But I don't think this group is like that.
I was going to say they traded Provorov.
I don't think
He gone.
No, it's a really good point, actually. Yeah, it's a really because Provorov was one of the guys who did have that feeling of like I'm the shit, and you all need to recognize that I'm the shit and defer to me because anything that goes wrong on the ice was not my fault. I don't get the sense that the best players, and nobody on this team is superstar level talent, but they do have good players. Travis Konechny is probably the best. Sean Couturier has won a Selke, a major award. Like, these are good players when they're playing their best, to be sure. I don't get the sense that any of them have that kind of ego. Like, look, every professional athlete has an ego. You need an ego. You need to believe you're good.
Yeah.
But I don't think that, like, based on the conversations that I've had over years and years with guys like Konechny and guys like Couturier, I don't get the sense that they are the type that is going to feel threatened by Michkov. If anything, I think guys like that will be, I mean, they'll be hoping he's really good, but they'll be hoping he's really good because, like, look.
They want to win.
They want to win. The Flyers fans, I believe, are probably more sick of it than they are because a lot of Flyers fans have been dealing with this for decades. They've only been dealing with this for, 5 to 10 years. But they're sick of mediocrity too. They want help. They really want help. And Michkov has the opportunity to give them serious help. Now, I don't think anybody, maybe some fans are, maybe the most optimistic. I don't think anybody is expecting, like, in that organization, in that room, is expecting Michkov to come in and immediately be a superstar. If he is, that rules. But I don't think anybody is expecting that to be the case. Like, it's not as if he was, and granted, he was on a not that great team, whatever. It's not like he was the best player in the KHL last year.
That's true.
And the KHL is not the NHL. Like, he was good. He was really good. Especially for his age, he was awesome.
And the pneumonia.
It's not, and he was playing for the pneumonia. Fair. But it's not like he was the best player or even one of the 5 best players in the KHL last season. So it's unreasonable to expect him to come in and be awesome immediately. Now, in 2-3 years, that's the hope. But right now, I don't think he's going to come in and maybe immediately make Travis Konechny the second best player on the team. If he does, great. I don't think it's a guarantee by any means. In fact, I'm not even necessarily expecting it. And I don't think the players on this team have the kind of swelled heads that will feel threatened by Michkov. I don't.
I would imagine that they're going to try to help him be the absolute best version of himself because that's how you win hockey games. Like, these guys aren't idiots. Like, if we traded for Connor Bedard, like, is Travis Konechny going to be pissed off that Connor Bedard's face is all over the television? I mean, like, first of all, be better if you want to be a superstar. Number one, be better. If Travis Konechny scored 55, 60 goals every single season, he'd probably be a bigger name in the city of Philadelphia, but he doesn't. So he's not. And Matvei Michkov, just on the sheer height of his potential, is a big, big deal. And these guys, I think, are self-aware enough to know, like, awesome, we got a really, really good player. I hope he turns out to be as good as we think he's going to be, because then my hockey team's going to win a lot of hockey games, and that's fun for everybody. Like, I can't imagine that they're going to be annoyed by the idea that they've brought in a good player.
Also, I don't think he's going to be super famous off the bat. Like, the thing is that to get...
No, just us.
It's just going to be the crazy fans.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's going to come in and be like the Philadelphia superstar. Like, the reason why this question is interesting to me, and when I read it on the outline and when I read it up here, the first thing I thought of, and this is a reasonable concern because this happened before, I think of Eric Lindros. Because Lindros, there absolutely was tension in that room because Lindros became, in a lot of players' minds in that room, bigger than the team. Mm-hmm. That there was one set of rules for Eric and one set of rules for everyone else, and that pissed people off. Like, there are players that are, like, a lot of guys have buried the hatchet and they've become friends with Eric again or whatever. There's some guys on that team that still can't stand him, that were on those teams that still really actively dislike Eric Lindros.
Piss babies.
I mean, you're not necessarily wrong.
He's also,
I'm just saying that, like, that was real.
Yeah.
And if Michkov does become a superstar to the point where he is one of the 3 or 4 most recognizable athletes in Philadelphia, which is what we're all hoping for. Yeah, that could potentially become a problem. It could. But, like, let's cross that bridge when we come to it. For him to get to that level, he has to first be really, really good at hockey.
Right.
And if he becomes really, really good at hockey at the NHL level to the point where he is a bona fide superstar, maybe that could be a problem. But I don't think, at least in the early part, it's going to be a major issue.
And also this, I mean, it's a test of, like, if this whole culture thing that you've been pushing for the last 2 years, if you've really done as good a job as it seems like you've done, then this won't be a problem.
That is a great point as well. Like, what's your culture if this is a problem?
Because
you
here's
need
the
to start over.
Here's the thing, like,
you didn't do a good job.
This kid had a reputation of being a shitty asshole in the locker room because he thinks he's so good. Like, allegedly. Like, that was the kind of the vibe that people were getting from him. And the Flyers knew that. They knew that going in. They asked him questions about it, right? At the thing. So, like, they've known for years that if they were going to get this kid, they might be dealing with an ego. So perhaps that was part of the culture building. That was part of like we are all a team. And I can see very clearly John Tortorella, even if Michkov is outstanding out of the gate, which, pipe dream, but maybe.
It would be awesome.
They are going to let him know that this is like, you're not bigger than the team. Like, this was a team victory. And I can see just by the way that Michkov seems so excited to be a part of this, that he would buy into that kind of thing. If he doesn't, we've got bigger problems. But like you said, cross that bridge when you get to it.
Let's cross the bridge of what do we do if Michkov becomes a superstar and then gets a swelled head. Let's cross that bridge when he becomes a superstar.
What if he's an asshole when he scores 70 goals in a season?
Will that be a problem? Could be. It was with Lindros to a point, but he first has to become a superstar. And if he becomes a superstar, that's going to be friggin' awesome to watch. So let's worry about that when we get to that point.
Walk around the city wearing goofy outfits like Mitch Marner and Allison Matthews. Like, I don't care how cocky you get if you're that good. Like, that's fine with me.
It is a funny thing to think about. Like, oh, what happens if he becomes a star?
No.
Yeah, we'll deal with that one.
Yeah.
But I do remember, because you brought up Connor Bedard, Kelly. Like, there was so much hype coming into this past season with Bedard, like that first game against the Penguins, the ESPN cameras following him around and everything. And there was a contingent that was like, this kid hasn't done shit yet. There was a larger contingent that was like, this is how, you know how you make the least out of all the major sports? Yeah. This is how you start making more, by growing the game.
Yes.
You know how basketball promotes its stars and those guys make like $70 million a year?
Idea.
Well, this is how we get there. Like, there was a larger contingent that thought that, but that sometimes does exist in hockey. But I have to believe at the end of the day, like, this locker room is self-aware enough. Like, what is the highest level of success anyone in this locker room has reached? Is it Game 7 loss in the second round?
Like, in front of no fans.
In the bubble?
Yeah, right.
Like, what's the plateau here for anyone in this locker room?
Yeah.
What could it be? And before we get to the super chats, I just want to thank all of our diehards. We couldn't do it without you. We couldn't have ALLCITY without you. We couldn't have PHLY without you. So thank you very much. If you're not a diehard, check out allphly.com. Read Charlie's free article. That's great. But if you want everything, you got to become a die hard. Okay, time for the super chats, fam. Let's see what the fans have to say. A couple of super chats today.
Gary.
First one from Patrick.
Sorry.
What's everyone's streak at for Duolingo Russian?
Bro, I can't even get French down. There's no way I'm doing Russian. A different alphabet? Get out of here.
I believe I have the capacity for a lot of things in my brain. Mm-hmm. Languages, never been a thing I could do.
You got to learn them when you're like 4 or you're useless.
I was really good at school, like without really trying. I was really good at school. Spanish, I was like, I'm cheating. Like, you can fail me or you can let me never take this again. But like, I will not be doing very well in this class. I don't have the capacity for languages. I wish I did because it seems awesome.
Spasiba.
I always wonder, like, how do you... Like, you're translating everything. To be able to speak multiple languages is
Fluently
wild to me.
Wild.
Like, that makes you a genius in my mind because I cannot do it.
You have to, in real time, translate in your head.
Yeah. Or just
in
like know.
Yeah.
Imagine knowing what, like, not even translating it, just like speaking and knowing what you're. That's
thinking in another language and then saying your words in a different one.
I can barely get the words out correctly in this one.
Are your dreams every night in different languages? Like, if you speak like 4 or 5 languages,
which one?
Like, what do you dream in? Is it all different?
Charlie, can you ask that tomorrow? Which language are you dreaming in?
Well, you
dream
we know
of
which language
winning
he's dreaming in.
Stanley Cups for the
Flyers. Basically only speaks Russian.
Yeah.
Maybe we ask him that 10 years in the future when he knows English better.
And our thing, we have one from Gary B here. The Mad Russian starts his America journey today. Let's fucking go Flyers.
Yes.
Yeah,
It
Gary.
is very
That is
much an
the
LFG
attitude.
day. It's
Yeah.
there's
LFG.
even if you're, and I already saw like some of your replies and stuff. It's like, well, actually,
We had
coming up
someone.
with,
He hasn't
coming
been
up
on the
with-
ice yet.
coming
Yeah.
up with new problems already.
Yeah.
Like if you are a Flyers fan, if you identify as a fan of the Philadelphia Flyers hockey club, today is 100% good.
Yes.
You can have worries tomorrow. You can have worries when camp starts, game one, the draft, what the rebuild is it a rebuild, whatever. You can have your concerns. Today is 100% good.
You
The
are
guy
allowed.
who we need is here. The end. That is a good thing.
There's a reason why in the article I publish at allphly.com, I say this is the actual start of the new era of hockey.
Yes.
That, yeah, last year was when they said it started. Nah, it starts now.
Yeah.
All right, and we have one more, it looks like, from Patrick again. Can't wait for the inevitable. I didn't even notice him from Torts after first day of training camp.
I don't even know who he is.
I can't
Pretty sure he
wait.
knows who he is.
I can't
Not
wait.
sure what kind of player he is.
The Torts stuff, the conversation, even as
It's
fun as
coming.
it is sometimes, it can be a little exhausting. I am eagerly anticipating what their relationship is going to be, what the post-game tenor is going to be. All that, like, I am honestly looking forward to Torts Michkov Chapter 1.
And I will say, too, going back to the question that we had in the mailbag, that the concern about there being two sets of rules, I feel like is eased by the fact that John Tortorella is the head coach. Because I don't think Torts is wired to treat Michkov differently. Now, I mean, Torts has his favorites, to be sure. But I do not think, like, if anything, Torts is even harder on the Couturiers. Because it's like, well, I've heard so many great things. Like, you got to be even better. You know, Danny loves you, Morgan. So where's the offense, dude? Like, I almost think that Torts is more likely to be harder on Michkov because he's
100%.
Michkov than if it was just, you know, John Stevens who wants to be everybody's buddy.
I'm more worried about that than I am him giving him special treatment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Before we get out of here, I do, because Britta made this earlier that I want to show. It's really fun. Danny,
Cheesing.
that smirk at the press conference that I pointed out when he was asked if we know anything, and he was like, not really. And his
Yeah, we don't
smirk
know anything.
today,
Nothing at all.
his smirk today as he's carrying this teenager sticks through the airport.
Yep.
I'm hoping that after tomorrow's press conference, this is a triple shot, and we get one more Danny smirk, because these are going to be great for all sorts of reactions over the next couple of years, hopefully, as Danny's master plan continues to unfold.
We're going to get a lot of smirks out of this group.
I'm really hoping we get a lot. He's so cute.
Isn't he? He's in a very
I realize
adorable
he's like
man.
double my age. Not even. He's like,
Nah,
what, 40 something?
that old.
No, he's really not. He's like 10 years older than me, maybe. But
He's in his like late 40s at this point, Danny.
I guess.
How old is Danny? Let's
great.
check this out.
Great
Cute
question.
boy. Is he
We can-
48? Wouldn't that be funny?
Danny is
Briere,
46.
46.
Well, he's not quite his
He
late
is
40s.
10 years older than
Younger
I am.
than me.
He's in his mid 40s.
Yeah.
I'm 50.
He's like a week older than me, or 10 years and a week. All right, so that's it. Tomorrow we'll be coming to you with reports of the press conference. Maybe we'll talk Slapshot. Maybe we'll save that for, you're back Thursday and Friday, right, Hinks?
Yeah.
Maybe we'll save it for F Around Friday. I have no idea what's going to happen, but today, Philadelphia is a day to celebrate. Matvei Michkov has arrived. He is here. The final thing that needed to happen has happened. He's here. All right. That'll do it for us today. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for hanging out. If you haven't already, you got to hit that subscribe button. Follow us right here on YouTube. And everyone hit that thumbs up thing, too. I hear that's important. And set those reminders so you never miss a live show. We'll be back tomorrow, probably at 1, but we'll see, depending on the press conference and everything. You need to be here. So you're not getting out of 1, damn it. Not on Michkov Day. So make sure you tune in for that and follow us on social media, on Twitter, at PHLY_Flyers. We'll update you if the time of the show changes. And, of course, the podcast, PHLY Flyers, wherever you get those. My name is Bill Matz. That's Charlie O'Connor. That's Kelly Hinkle. You stay loose and sexy, Philly.
We all silly like the mayor.